Deepak sir, can we start?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Jai Hind, everyone, and I welcome you today in this lecture. Today we are going to discuss about Indian knowledge system and language. First of all, I, Dr. Preeti Singh, on behalf of Law Teachers India, welcome you all on that platform. Today, on the discussion on the topic Indian knowledge system and language, we have with us Dr. Deepak J. Mashru. We welcome you, sir, in this session. आभासी पटल पर हम तालियां बजाकर तो आपका स्वागत सामने से नहीं कर सकते हैं, लेकिन आभासी पटल पर हम आपका तहे दिल से स्वागत करते हैं आज के इस मंच पर। और हम सभी आपको सुनने के लिए बहुत आतुर हैं, क्योंकि आज एक ऐसा टॉपिक हम आपसे सुनने जा रहे हैं कि हमने सिर्फ इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम को हिंदी से कनेक्ट करके जाना है, लेकिन आज हम अदर लैंग्वेज से भी इसको कनेक्ट करेंगे। इस लेक्चर को शुरू करने से पहले सिर्फ मैं हमारी ऑडियंस को ये बताना चाहती हूँ कि आज हमारे साथ जो शख्सियत हैं वो एक लैंग्वेज टेक्नोलॉजिस्ट हैं और उन्होंने लैंग्वेज को लेकर बहुत काम किया है। सो टुडे वी हैव विद अस डॉक्टर दीपक जे मशरू. He has completed his PhD in English literature. He has done his Master of Arts, Master of Commerce, Master of Journalism and Mass Communication, Bachelor of Education and Postgraduate Diploma in Computer Application. He has been in the field of English language teaching for more than 2 decades. He has taught English, communication skills, economics, management, research, and many more subjects at various levels, from secondary to PG level. He has authored 13 books. He has launched 3 Android applications for effective learning, English learning. He has been awarded Pedagogical Innovative Award by Gujarat Technological University in 2017. He has been facilitated as Academic Genius of the Year by Genius Indian Achiever Award 2017 by Genius Foundation. Presently, he is associated with Marwadi University as an assistant professor, where he deals with many subjects like English, business communication, and research skills of undergraduate and postgraduate programs. He is a language technologist and he likes to belong technology in English language teaching. He always tries to make the learning and teaching of the English language more effective and interesting. As in the starting, I have told you that today's session will be more interactive and more knowledgeable. So we welcome you, sir, and the stage is for you. And we are ready to explore Indian knowledge system and language.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for the wonderful introduction. Just one update. I'm working with the National Forensic Sciences University, Gandhinagar now. Okay. Right, so it has been updated a bit. Fine. Okay. Now, before I start, I would like to know from you people that what are your expectations from the session and what you know about this IKS and language. So if we are on the same page, then we can start ahead. Because I don't want to be a monologue, that I start talking and I don't know whether I'm communicating or not. Fine. So language has its first aspect is to communicate. Fine. So I want to know from the audience, fine, that what are your expectations from the session, if you have any, or what do you know little about this? You may respond to the message, or if I will be more than happy if you can unmute your mic and speak. In this era, we get very little chance to speak.
If you want to say anything, you can on your camera. Kalpesh sir will give you the access and you can raise the hand. सर, जब तक हमारी ऑडियंस कनेक्ट हो रही है, जैसे मैंने स्टार्टिंग में ही कहा था कि मुझे लगता है कि इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम को जब हम लैंग्वेज से कनेक्ट करते हैं तो हम उसको हिंदी और संस्कृत से ही कनेक्ट करते हैं। इंग्लिश क्योंकि हमारी लैंग्वेज नहीं है, हमारी मदर लैंग्वेज नहीं है, तो हम इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम से उसको कनेक्ट नहीं कर पाते। तो मुझे लगता है कि आज का सेशन इस एस्पेक्ट से भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होने जा रहा है कि हम लैंग्वेज जो हैं उनको कैसे कनेक्ट करेंगे इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम से और कैसे हम अपनी बातों को इंटरनेशनल लेवल पर पहुंचा पाएंगे, जो कि एनईपी के थ्रू इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम को कनेक्ट करते हुए हमारी गवर्नमेंट भी चाहती है। तो मेरी एक्सपेक्टेशन तो यही है, क्योंकि सर इस बात को लेकर मेरी कई और लोगों से बात हुई। मेरा ये मानना है कि अगर हम इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम की बात कर रहे हैं तो हम अपनी जो लैंग्वेज है उसको हिंदी या संस्कृत ही रखें। लेकिन वन ऑफ माय फैकल्टी हु इज फ्रॉम इंग्लिश डिपार्टमेंट, ही टोल्ड मी कि अगर हम इंग्लिश में इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम की बात नहीं करेंगे तो इंटरनेशनल लेवल पर हम अपनी बात नहीं पहुंचा पाएंगे। तो मैं ये
Right,
सवाल का जवाब भी आज आपसे चाहूंगी कि क्या ये सही है या गलत है।
right. Okay. The title of the session is not IKS in English language. The title is IKS in language.
आई
So I have considered the roots of the language starting from there, and I've tried to connect with Gen Z. So from ancient to Gen Z, that's the transition I've tried to cover in my presentation. Okay. I guess it's evening time, dinner time, so people would be busy having dinner or preparing for the dinner. I guess so. Okay. The way Preeti ma'am mentioned about expectations, I would like to start with the magic, right? Generally, there are some magical elements or surprising elements in the presentation that I try to do. I have one water bottle with me. I just remove the wrapper, right? I want to know from you people that if I curse this water that you made me sick, right? I curse the water that you made me ill. I hate you. I'll kill you. If I talk to water in this way, right, and I open the bottle, I have a sip of water. Will there be any difference to water or to me? Is your answer yes or no?
सर अगर हम साइकोलॉजिकल लेवल पर देखें तो
Yes or
मीन्स
no? See, you are in the courtroom, right? And the honor of the chairman and the founder of Law Teachers India is looking at us. So answer in yes or no. Yes. Okay. Dr. Bala mentioned yes. If I say uh, uh, that thank you very much, I show my gratitude to you, right? Lots of love to you. Cheers. And then I open the water bottle and I drink in this way. Will there be any difference? Answer is yes.
यस
Absolutely yes. How come? We'll start. Now the problem is whatever we have accepted that has been always validated by the West, right? And then we connect that okay, this is something that we had already. Fine. So I would like to start this session with one small video of one Japanese scientist who had experimented on water. Fine. So with uh, Kalpesh sir's permission, can I start sharing the video? Okay,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
yeah. It's a small video. Will not go for all 5 minutes, but I'd like to just have you walk you through the glimpses of it.
Series of photographs of the work of Japanese researcher Mr. Mashru Emoto from his book, The Message from Water. Mr. Emoto's work provides factual evidence that human vibrational energy, thoughts, words, ideas, and music affect the molecular structure of water. Please remember that water comprises over 70% of a mature human body and covers the same amount on our planet. Water is the very source of all life. This photo shows the beautifully formed geometric design of the Yushi Spring water. This next photo is from the Shimanto River, the last clean spring in Japan. Notice the extraordinary geometric forms. The fact that the molecular structure of water can be affected by our consciousness, our intent, and our sounds is extremely important. This photo is from the Mount Cook Glacier in New Zealand. Mr. Emoto has been visually documenting these molecular changes in water by means of his photographic techniques. He freezes droplets of water, then examines them under a dark field microscope that has photographic capabilities. His work clearly demonstrates the diversity of the molecular structure of water and the effects of the environment upon the structure of the water. This photo is from the fountain.
I have shared the link of this YouTube video. It's an 8-minute video, 5 to 6 minutes video that you can watch it later on your own. Will not waste much time on that. But the gist is, Dr. Emoto Mashru from Japan, he took a sample of water from Fujiwara Dam, the famous dam of Japan. He froze the water droplets and took the photography of molecules. The same water was then offered to the Zen monk. The molecules are changed. When people talked positively about the water, the molecules of water were changed. When you speak negative about to the water, the molecules of water are changed. Now, thing is that the way it is mentioned in the very first line, that the mature human body has 70% water. Just imagine that if your word speaks, whatever you speak or whatever you tell water, it affects the molecules. Will it not affect, or does it not affect to our body when 70% of our body is water? So this is something that we find. Now, thing is that this is something that we find around us. Now, how to validate with us? Now, you tell me, have you visited any temple, Gurudwara, anywhere, right? You find that in every temple, every religious place, they offer water as Charanamrit. Have you seen that or not? Yes. Right? Now, thing is that has been already in practice since centuries. That the water is offered to God, right? Even in your, in my temple also, right? Everywhere, if you find a Ganga Jal, bottle of Ganga Jal, it will remain intact for years. Why not the normal water like this? Because water has that power. Now, if you go for Ramayana and Mahabharata at that time, where they used to have a war with the arrows. Now, any astra with the chanting of mantra become the vyastra. Isn't it the power of words that adds the value to the sastra? Fine. So this is something that we need to understand, the power of words that we speak. Fine. So this was the starting, the anecdote, or I wanted to establish the platform for today's session. Fine. So now let's go for the presentation that I have prepared. We walk you through the presentation. Fine. Okay. Just allow me 1 minute. Yeah, I guess it's visible. Yeah. So as there are lots of young people joining, and they're participants of this FDP, so I thought of having some anecdotes or some information which can also connect with Gen Z. Fine. And as it is IKS, I thought that why can't we invite Narad Muniji in a cartoon character way, where we can, it can be the narrator of the presentation. Fine. So instead of keeping this title as it is, I have took the liberty to change the little bit title as a sub theme. Instead of only IKS and language, I thought that we can aptly talk about title as Sabda, Sanskriti and Sastra, the unbroken thread of Bharatiya knowledge systems through language. That can justify today's presentation, right? So let's go for it. The session outline, I'm going to talk about this session in 4 different parts. The first section of the presentation of the session will be talking about dealing with foundations of IKS through the lens of language. In the second phase of the session, we'll talk about language architecture of Bharatiya thought. Third one is storytelling traditions, transmission and textuality. And the fourth one, the way Preeti Madam was talking about contemporary relevance of IKS and language in higher secondary or higher education institutes, right? So this is what we're going to talk and discuss today in that session. The session objectives are, the first one is understand the language as a core of IKS across time. As I told you, from beginning to the end, we'll talk about till today. We'll talk about the journey of language, how it has worked, how it has been significant. Explore the depth of Sanskrit and regional languages in the knowledge transmission, right? So it has got a value to that. The next one is design Gen Z friendly ICAS integrated academic strategies. This is one of the things that we have. I would very proudly love to mention that I, along with my guru, Professor Ami Upadhyay, is a vice chancellor at Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University at Ahmedabad, and Professor Dushyant Nemawat, professor at Gujarat University in English. Fine. We three were awarded the grant of 2 crore from ICSSR for integrating Bharatiya knowledge systems to higher education. So I've been working on that, and that's why this topic is very close to my heart. And when I was asked, I mean, I already mentioned earlier that Kalpesh Bhai, he just orders and instructs that this is the topic and you are going to take. Fine. So when he is there, we have very less choices. Fine. But he knows how to assign the topic to the right person. So I very wholeheartedly and pleasantly accepted that, okay, I'll definitely work on this. And even I could, by preparing this presentation and referring to the things, that journey, that process also helped me to sharpen my knowledge, whatever little I know about IKS and language. Fine. Okay. So let's move to the first phase of the presentation. Yeah. Before I say, we can have two different modus operandi. Number one is, anytime during the presentation, if you have any question or query, or you want to add something to it, if you want to have your own commentary or insights, you can raise your hand so that Kalpesh Bhai and the team can unmute you and you can speak. Or in last 10 minutes time, we can spare that slot for Q&A, where you can share your insights, right? Uh, Before I start with this, the first phase, I would like to very humbly mention that we all are equals, and I am the first among the equals. That's why I got an opportunity to share my views. It's I can see that lots of people are there, right, who have rather more knowledge, more experience that I have, right? So definitely it's a learning, unlearning, and relearning process. Fine. So I hope that the presentation that I'll share today will be benefited to some of you people, and some of your insights will be definitely helpful to me. Fine. Let's go with the first one. The first phase, foundations of Indian knowledge systems through the lens of language. I mentioned that language is the pramana of Bharatiya knowledge systems. Fine. So let's go for it. If you look at the first one, the concept of IKS, I divided IKS concept in three different parts: eternal, inclusive, and evolving. Fine. So look at it. The Indian knowledge system refers to deeply interconnected holistic frameworks, right? Where we find that that it is there. Now, from metaphysics to medicine, astronomy to architecture, logic to linguistics, IKS is everywhere, right? It's not the language, English language or Sanskrit language, right? Wherever you go, you will find this. Now, what is required here is, we have that mindset with us that when somebody talks about IKS, we have that presumption or a preconceived notion in our mind that we understand about astrology. We talk, we have the typical attire of Indian culture. Fine. It's not like that. It's not about Sanskrit. It's about languages. It's about lots of things that we have. So in that way, we can say that the first one that goes to eternal, that is Sanatana, it's rooted in eternal truths explored in the Shruti and Smriti traditions. Right? If we get the time, we'll talk about all these things. In Taittiriya Upanishads, in Sikshavali, it is mentioned that there are 6 types of gurus. Now, if you are from education department, education part, or you know about Bloom's taxonomy has 6 sections. Remember to create. Taittiriya Upanishad has 6 types of gurus. If you can map these two, you will understand that things are from us. It has been transported, translated, transferred, and it has come back with different ways, different angles. Fine. So that comes in the way. I tell you that in the Constitution of India, when we talk about that, right, when the directive principles are mentioned on that particular page, the image of Bhagavad Gita is there. And Bhagavad Gita is when the image where Lord Krishna, Arjuna, and it is the battlefield, Kurukshetra. That image is printed there in the Constitution of India as one of the illustrators. Right? Now, just imagine, why is it so? Why it is there on the directive principles page only? And you will be surprised to know whether you are noted or not, I don't know. But it is the only picture of Lord Krishna which is speaking. Right? Otherwise, you will not find any image of any god goddesses which are talking in form. Right? They are always in there in the mudra, the smiling. But nobody is in talking form. Nobody is in instructing form. Right? So here it's the only image. Right? And when we talk about our roots, Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji, when he visited US for the first time, right, he gifted Bhagavad Gita to Barack Obama, then President of USA. Right, the values of ours, that is there. Right. Second one is inclusive. It absorbs regional, tribal, spiritual traditions from diverse linguistic and ethnic communities. I tell you that we have that scope of language everywhere. For example, if you want to go for DNA, fine. So DNA can be mapped with, right? Ethnic communication is there, where the particular ethnic groups, they have different patterns of communication. Fine. So here there is a scope where everywhere language is there, everywhere communication is there, right? We can map with. The third one is evolving. It has continuously reinterpreted itself through bhashyas, right, nibandas and regional languages. So it is evolving day by day, we find it. I did one beautiful experiment where I want to talk about legal terms to my students of law, LLB students. Now, to teach legal terms is very boring thing because it has got word, meaning, example, that's all. So what I did is I took a sample where the first adhyay, where Arjuna is in dilemma whether to fight with my brothers or not. What should I do? Where Krishna explains that dialogue where I incorporated, legal terms and converted into an animated movie, of 3-4 minutes, and students liked it. See, I'm trying to tell you that how we can integrate IKS, right? So in that way, people will definitely fall in love with the things. So these are the different ways where we do. And when I practiced it, I can find it. When I ask my students to have a comparison with Manusmriti versus Constitution of India, right? Magna Carta versus Manusmriti, right? So we find lots of comparisons, lots of comparative analysis over there, right? So that gives you. So in that way, things are evolving one by one. Now, second one, as I mentioned, Sabda is a pramana in Nyaya and Mimasha. Right? In Bharatiya epistemology, Shabda, it has been considered as, there are 6 different, evidences, pramanas. The Sabda is the 6th one, the last one, right? So, it is considered as, in Nyaya Darshana, Sabda Pramana is considered as one of the most reliable verbal testimony from trustworthy person. That is Apta Bhakta. Structured, rule-bound, and validated through logical inference. Right? In even Purva Mimamsa, Sabda is the only means of accessing Dharma. Vedic injunction, that is Vidhi, or conveying duties which are eternal and unauthored. So in that way, it has also got the value. Now, if you go to the third one, language as Vahika of Purushartha. Vahika means the transportation. How we use language to transport our ideas. How we use language as communicate our ideas, right? So it has been shared, lots of people have talked about definition of communication. But thing is that when you teach communication to the students, right, especially communication is found in engineering and management students, right? So why don't we use such kind of examples instead of using the people who have given defined communication in their own ways? So we can definitely go for it. So here Language is not merely a tool for communication in Indian philosophy. It's a vehicle of dharma, artha, kam, and moksha. Fine. Now, these 4 words you will find in the first doha of Hanuman Chalisa. Right. So these 4 things are required. Right. To achieve these 4 fundamental goals, fine, we use language. Fine. Okay. The first one, dharma, learned through shastras. Right. So text, artha conveyed through Arthashastra text, like what is given by Chanakya. Kama is the aesthetic and emotional refinement through literature, poetry, natya. Right. Moksha is liberation, facilitated by scriptural languages, Upanishadic dialogues. Fine. So in that way, we can say the linguistic medium is sacred because knowledge of self, that is Atma Gnana, cannot be transmitted without it. So their language works in that way. Now, when you talk about language, why Sanskrit? Right? Why not English? Right? I tell you. So because Sanskrit is beautifully crafted, where we find it phonetically, it is complete. 49 sounds are there. Morphological is very rich. There are more than 3,000 verb forms, precise case endings, syntactic and neutral, semantically layered. Right? You find everywhere. Now, if you find this, the language of the Vedas, Shastras, Upanishad, right, Darshanas, and Kalas, Sanskrit served as a meta medium for philosophical discourse, scientific treatise, and aesthetics. Right. So why it is so? Because it is in that way very rich even today. Now, what is the role of regional languages in IKS? So lots of IKS has got the boost with the help of regional languages, right? Be it Bhakti literature, mystic traditions, Jain and Buddhistic canonical text, educational scripts. You find lots of things, that has been boosted using, regional languages, and it has helped in IKS. Fine. Okay. Now, the second phase is language architecture of Bharatiya thought, the cognitive, structural, and philosophical foundations of Indian languages. Here, I would like to talk about that how people from here, they were the best so far as language was concerned. If you look at the first one, the phonetic sciences from Nadi to Nad to Sabd, right? If you look at the transition, if you look at the 3 different varieties, you'll find it. In Indian tradition, language is not merely human invention, but it's a cosmic phenomenon, right? I tell you that if internet is not stable here, right, will not be able to convey the message. Now just imagine, to meditate, you just have Om. It's O, Om, right? These 3 letters, it has got a meaning. And Om is something which connects you to the spirituality, to the connect to the Almighty. So this is a cosmic Wi-Fi which never gets down, right? So there are lots of things that we need to understand. Okay, it begins with Nadi, that pulse, the subtle energy of channel. Then it becomes Nad, that is unstruck sound, and finally manifests as Sabd, that is spoken word. This is not just poetic metaphor, but a structured theory that talks about phonetics treatise, right? It is there. And according to Taittiriya Upanishad, sound evolves in 4 stages. If you look at the 4 stages, you will find it. Fine. So you just imagine that before 5,000 years, we could have such kind of scientific things. Now, when it comes to grammar, we have to talk about Panini. 5th century, before the 5th century, if you look at it, the oldest non-algorithmic and generative language model, it still works, right? And it's not about us. The Fritz Tell, Noam Chomsky, right? And the theorists who deal with computational linguistics, Rick Briggs from NASA, they have affirmed that Panini's work it predates and often surpasses modern generative grammar. Just imagine that the way it has been, thought of while preparing, that the way it works in a way. Now, 2.4 talks about semantic precision versus contextual wisdom. Now, if you look at it, the Indian languages often use one word for multiple contexts. It's about rasa. Can you imagine that there were, when we had the Mahabharata, right? The beginning of the war and at the end of the war, there was indication. And the indication was Sankhnad, the sound of conch. Right? If you go deeper and if you look at the scripts, right, you will get to know that everybody had a different name of conch. The Sank was different from everybody and the sound were different. And if you map those sound with rasa theory, you will get to know that what are the different rasas. Fine. So these are the things that we need to understand. So it's not only about the words that they speak, the sound, that is dhwani, right? That also work there. Now, instead of focusing on lexical precision, Indian linguistic tradition values contextualization, consistency, and cultural intuition. Right? These were the three aspects where the ICAS, the language that we have studied, we have evolved, that focus is on. Now, if you look at the third one, storytelling, traditions, transmission, and textuality. From Shruti to scripts, language as a soul of Bharatiya civilization memory. Okay. Now 3.1 talks about orality as epistemology, Shruti, Smriti, Itihas, and Puran. Right. So if you look at it, you'll get to know that Indian knowledge transmission began not with the written word but through meticulously preserved oral traditions, governed by phonetic precision and memorization techniques such as praptata, karma, jat, gana, right? All these words are there. These techniques were not mechanical but philosophical, grounded in the idea that language is properly uttered, preserves the universe rhythm, right? Okay, the four things that I have mentioned here, I want you people to just look at it: Shruti, Smriti, Itihas, and Purana. I'll take a small pause here and I want to know from you people that if you have any experience while reading the scripts, while dealing with other people, where you could find that yes, there is something where language has played some role with reference to Indian knowledge systems, which can enrich our knowledge.
Sir,
Yes.
when you are saying
Yes, I have. Dr. Bala, please
use-
introduce yourself. So, yeah.
okay, just a minute. Good evening, sir. I'm Professor Bala Lakshmira from Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, Banaras Hindu University. Sir, you rightly started the thing with Shabd Brahma. And yes, in Indian context, you also talked about Shruti and Smriti. And we started our things with Shruti and Smriti because Shruti Parampara was there. Guruji and Acharya were chanting the mantra, and Sisyas, they were listening it and remembering it. And then later on, when in 14th century writing came, we started writing. But before that also we were writing. So how you will say it, sir? My question is related to script and all these things, because everybody is saying that in 14th century, when printing press was formulated, established in Johannesburg, then we started writing, and then things
No,
went.
no.
But long back, as you have also
Yes,
explained,
yes.
that we started with all these things. So then how you relate these things? And even in
Sir,
Banaras University, we are having a script which are more than 3,000 years old, written on palm leaf and all. So,
yes,
can you talk something about this, please, sir?
definitely. If you can, if I go back and if I share the thing, yeah, in 1.5, right? I guess, yeah. If you find this in 1.5, point number 1.5, I could find educational scripts, palm leaf manuscripts in Malayalam, Odia, and Kannada. They were there. Fine. So it is there. So I tell you that we are reached people, because if you look at it, when Panini, that they talked about this. Today people use ChatGPT, generative AI. Now thing is that the way the grammar and the writing skills were developed over there, even 2,500 years back, it still beats the current one. So in that way, I truly agree with you that we had writing developed over there before that. Because if you look at the Vedas and all, right, they're all scripted. Fine, that we find. So in that way, I guess, the point that you mentioned is that 14th century, when Gutenberg mentioned, that is about the thing. Now, problem, as I mentioned with this title, that Emoto Mashru, he experimented on water, then scientifically proven, and then it is validated from yoga to yoga, right? It works in this way. So here it reached to us in a structured form, right? Later, but it is there. And many of the things that has been traveled from here to there, right? Now, when people say that India was found by somebody, we know about the person, right? Now, thing is that before that, India used to export things, and India used to export things across the globe. So in that way, it has not been showed. So we need to rewrite the things. And when I talk about the last slide of mine, the key takeaways, right? It talks about it that we need to restructure the things, we need to rewire the things, and only then we can go ahead.
Uh,
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. In between, sir, you also talked about communication. And when we say that the father of a communication, so we are hardly having someone from India. But yesterday I was talking to Dr. Sir. I told him about Narad, how Narad was known as a PR, public relation officer, and then he
Yes,
was the journalist. And you also talked about Rasa, and Bharat Muni has written this Natya Shastra, which talks all the rasa and all these things. So in terms of communication, India is very rich, because
yes,
if
it
you
is.
see Ramayan, it is sampreshan word. Sampreshan means
Yes,
if I am sending something and you are receiving something, you are sending something and I am receiving something, and if it is equal, understanding and sharing, then communication will take place. But
exactly.
today, when we are saying that who is known as father of communication, people say somebody else from Europe or some and America. So,
Yes, sir.
what is your opinion about this, sir? Because I
Sir,
feel that compression was much in advanced stage in India, and in ICAS Indian knowledge system it was there, sir.
I,
Sir.
I absolutely agree with you, sir. And that's one of the reasons why I have kept Narathi's image in the presentation, right? Because when it talks about communicator, I could find that there is nobody else a better communicator than him, right? He knew that whom to talk, when to talk, and what to talk, right? He was master about it, and that we have witnessed, right? But there is a beautiful concept in computer that is GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. Now the problem with the system that that the Macaulay came here, right? And Macaulay designed the things, education system, right? That created all mess, right? And I tell you that there are lots of things, right, that students need to learn. I tell you that when I ask my students to have a comparative presentation on Manusmriti and the Constitution of India, I could find that lots of students came with the presentation in the image where they have shown that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is throwing Constitution of Manusmriti in the fire. It's burning. Actually, it is not there. The people don't understand. People come with Manusmriti's, certain sloka and which are not complete one, right? So here, the half knowledge is more dangerous, and that's one of the reasons why we thought of proposing in ICSSR that can we have the structured IKS, rather not IKS but BKS, Bharatiya knowledge system, fine, where we can integrate the one common structure that can be offered to the higher educations, right, so that people can be there at the level playing ground. That's a very humble effort that we are trying to do, right, sir? Thank you. Okay, and now let's move further. I thought that I was, it was going one way, so I thought that we can have a little bit of discussion. Okay. Let's move back to the things. Okay, I'll share again. Okay. Okay. Now, when it comes to, I guess, okay, the 3.3 we talked about. Okay, 3.1 we were here. Now let's move to the 3.2. Right? I thought that this session can be expanded to a separate FDP where IKS and language can have 5 days where we can talk about different aspects. So I tried to cover whatever more things I can cover within the things. Right? I thought at one point of time that it can be a bit heavy, but I thought that whatever this is an opportunity to share and disseminate, right, so that we can get to know and we can express our ideas regarding it. That's why I've tried to make it more heavy in a way. Okay. 3.2, it talks about language in performing arts and knowledge preservation, where the way Professor Bala mentioned, right, Natya Shastra, so drama, dance, and music, right, they were the three different angles that we could find that where language was defined as one of the four abhinayas, expressions, right? So here the transmitting rasa, that is emotions, encapsulating dharma, that is morals and social education through entertainment, right? It has been there here. Now if you look at the modern pedagogy experts, right, they talk about role plays and they talk about flipped classroom. It has been there since the beginning of our culture, fine, and some of the hybrid languages that we use, fine. So these we have. 3.3 talks about textual transmission and commentary traditions, fine. If you look at it, the hallmark of Indian textuality is the layered dialogue between the Mula Granth, Mul Granth, that is original text, that is Bhashya, right? That is commentary, Tika is sub-commentary, and Vratika is critical expansions, right? So here, the Indian textuality has different forms, different layers. It works in that way, right? Okay, this system shows that language is not final but dialectic. Every generation converses with the past through language. What is required here is precision plus interpretation form that continuum civilization memory. So year on year, from generation to generation, we are getting this. It has also touched using, if you look at the regional languages, vernacular tongue, right, where Bhakti, Sufi, Jain, all traditions, where also, where language played also a major role in maintaining and, sustaining those scripts, right, with us. Where I have mentioned here Bhakti poets, fine, Even silence, where Kabir talks about silence, Mirabai talks about Tulsidas ji, Tukaram ji, from Marathi literature. We find lots of ideas, lots of values over there, right? Now, thing is that we need to translate it into a contextual way. Thing is that when things are translated, right? Now, problem is when Indian texts are translated, Bhagavad Gita is translated in English by somebody else who has no base of that spiritual background. That person will translate, that would be a superficial but not the contextual one. So we need to have such kind of things where the young generation, Gen Z especially, they can get connected to our roots back. This is the area where I feel that we can start working it on. 3.5, that is IKS through epics and fables. Panchtantra, Hitopdesha, Jataka, these are all tales where we can talk about it. Because Indian, if you look at the culture that we had, it's all about storytelling, right? We could find that people always talked about storytelling, and through storytelling, right, it is something that we could find, right? So that's the base, the pedagogy, the fundamental idea where we could find it. Okay, now the fourth one, the contemporary relevance of IKS and language in higher education, the translating tradition into transformation. This is something that touches today, right? Where we can cover things. So language policy in NEP 2020, it has got trilinguality and IKS integration, right? It is there. But the problem here is uh, IKS subject, which is offered across the globe, across India rather, right, in all the universities, it is not a graded one. It is audit course, right? Or it has got a credit, but no people don't find it, and it has been given to the person as punishment. And the person who deals with the subject, he deals with the subject for the sake of dealing it, and that creates issues. So we should have the people who understands the things, and those who have that depth, that knowledge, and that passion to talk about it. Only those people can go for it. Fine. With reference to language, what we can do is, language is a both medium and repository of knowledge. It mandates the integration of IKS into all domains of learning by, number one, promoting mother tongue regional language, encouraging multilingual education, including classical languages like Sanskrit, Pali, and Tamil, establishing Indian knowledge system centers, right, that we can find, incentivizing original IKS based research in Indian languages. I had a word with one of my friends, right? I suggested that there are hundreds of universities in India. There are thousands of research scholars. They appear for a PhD. Can we not have a bunch of list of topics where your own stream, your own faculty, and you integrate it with IKS, and at least 20%, maybe 30%, right, of the scholars you suggest that why don't you carry out research, your doctoral research in this area. If we can have that corpus of the research problems or research domains or research areas, in that case definitely these people, through the research scholars, right, we can bring our IKS system to the surface. So that's one of the suggestions, the humble suggestion that I was sharing with my elderly friend in one of the meetings that we had, right? Now when it comes to science and technology, fine, from Ayurveda to artificial intelligence, fine. Now, if you look at it from Ayurveda, fine, Jyotisha, mathematics, artificial intelligence, I'll not talk more about it, because when it comes to, IKS, people always talk about that first head transplant was done by Mahadevji, Shankar Bhagwan, when the Ganesha's, the head was transplanted. Well, I'll not talk about it. It's more than that. Fine. So look at it, Ayurveda, Jyotisha, mathematics, right? AI. Now, AI, if you look at it, the base of AI is NLP, natural language processing, right? Where we find semantic parsing and computational linguistics. Now, if you look at the Panini, if you literally you study Panini, you will get to know that there are things which have been taken as a base for NLP. Fine. So things are ours, rooted in our culture. It has visited overseas, and it has come back with the label, and we are accepting it. Now, when it comes to humanities, ethics, law, political science, environment, right, we can find that language of dharma is foundational to Bharatiya civilization. It's not about religious prescription, but it's about principle-based epistemology, right? When we talk about law, we talk about Manusmriti. Now, thing is that unless and until you do not talk about Ramcharitmanas, you do not talk about Manusmriti, the students will not be able to map with Constitution of India, right? You can make them, clever, intelligent lawyer, but what about ethical lawyering skills? Right, so that is something, because the Karna and Arjuna, they both were equal. Rather, sometimes we can see that Karna was more powerful, but the line of dharma, right, the Arjuna was standing inside and the Karna was standing outside, right? That's the thing, that we need to find the character building, right? And that can be done through ethical things. And this kind of, I guess, clarity can help people to have, to help them to overcome such kind of ambiguities. Then political science, Arthashastra by Kautilya, right? When it talks to ethics, Mahabharata is the best example, right? Bhagavad Gita is the best one. Ecology, that Atharva Veda, Puranas are there where we find things. 4.4 is translating ICAS for Gen Z. Innovation in lexicon, medium and narrative. Fine. So I was thinking that, what can be done for this Gen Z people, right? So I thought of certain things. For example, when you talk about Panini, if I want to address to Gen Z, I'll not talk about Panini. I'll talk about Panini, the OG coder who beat ChatGPT by 2,500 years ago. Now they'll connect, right? So this is something that we need to understand, right? When Bhishma Pitama, when he was in deathbed, right, he talked about, he preached. So if I want to deal with Gen Z, I'll tell that the Bhishma Pitama's deathbed TED talk, right? So in that way, the Gen Z will definitely connected in that way, right? So this is something that we need to understand. Yeah, curriculum design. This is something that we presently work, structuring courses with language and IKS, where we can have 4 different disciplines, courses in engineering and AI, courses in psychology, courses in law, courses in environment studies, where we can integrate this. Along with this, I wanted to say that there can be 3 layered IKS curriculum model. The first layer that talks about foundational layer, right? That talks about language and consciousness. The second layer is thematic layer that talks about IKS based knowledge, the domain knowledge. That means every domain has whatever domain you have. We try to integrate IKS into that. Third one is reflective layer, the dialogue with Western theories and contemporary issues. So in that way, we can try to integrate in that way. This is the last slide, major takeaways. Right, the first one is language is not a passive tool but a very architecture of Bharatiya knowledge systems, from Vedic revelations to artificial intelligence. Second one is Shabda as a pramana, bridges logic, spirituality and practical life across classical darshanas and textual traditions. Sanskrit and regional bhashas are not relics, they are code bases of cognition and cultural that demand educational innovation. Third one is the fourth one, orality, commentary, and performance arts serves as transmission mechanism of IKS across geographies and generations. And the last one talks about contemporary curriculum must integrate IKS and language using Gen Z formats, from rap to reels to VR infused MOOCs. This is how we can reach to the expected goal. and with the sloka that is there. I've been asked to complete by 7:55. It's 7:55. So questions, observations,
Thank
whatever.
you for this beautiful session. And really, you have given such a knowledge related to Indian knowledge system. I was thinking that you will concentrate your lecture related to English, but today I got too much by this lecture. And as you have told that Sanskrit is a language, nobody have monopoly in it, and language the vahika of Purusharth, and many more things today we have learned from this session. So participants, if you have any question, you can raise your hand, and you can also drop your question into the chat box.
The humble effort is to make you think, right? These are all trigger points. Every slide, every sentence is a trigger point.
Yes. Yes, sir,
Fine.
it's true.
So,
That till our participants is trying to ask the question, I want to ask, in the last you have told regarding curricular design. I am from the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication. Nowadays we are designing a syllabus for journalism students. We have put in that Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra, Mahabharat, and the Ramayana. Can you please suggest something more so that we can connect it with the Gen Z?
see, yesterday only I got an opportunity to talk about to talk with Gen Z in one of the law schools, right? So where I tried to map with, see, Gen Z is something there, they have their own challenges, fine. So what I did is I talked about 18 key challenges of Gen Z with its SDGs, with its 21st century skills, with its Delta effective lawyering skills, with its T-shaped lawyering skills, right? And give them solutions for 18 issues, 18 solutions. And then in the last slide, I shared that these 18 solutions are nothing but 18 adhyayas of Mahabharata. Fine. So if you take Bhagavad Gita, right? I'm trying very humbly to connect Gen Z with Bhagavad Gita. So I took 54 doses, 54 sloka from Bhagavad Gita, where I'm trying to connect with Gen Z with their issues, with the challenges, right? And how they can go for it. So what I suggest is if you can go with certain stories, anecdotes, fine, because they are such a kind of generation, because I'm a father of a Gen Z. My daughter is Gen Z, so I understand it. So every in while script 30 seconds reel is too much for them if they're not interested, right? So in that way I feel that Mahabharata is effective, Ramana is effective, right? If you can add Bhagavad Gita as one of the things, in that way definitely it can serve the purpose. But the modality of the things, where you make Gen Z busy and try to use Gen Z lingo, so in that way they will be able to more connect. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Participants,
sir,
yes.
you have recently done a comparative research on Bhagavad Gita, then Harvard's Delta thing, and then can you just put just light on that so that other people like us can also understand how to connect these anecdotes, because I really find that on your status, but now it is no longer there. So I just really
Okay.
wanted to know a little bit about it, sir.
Yeah, just allow me. I'll just share. Uh, yeah, if I can share the last slide. Yeah, if you can find this.
Yes, sir.
I have shared the same image on my LinkedIn. You can get it from there also. If you wish, even I can share.
Sir, is it your book or something? You have worked upon it as in a book?
I'm doing it right now.
All right,
Actually,
sir.
we have got the project. We are working on the project. That's why. Yeah. Okay. Could you please actually clarify relation between Indian Constitution and Manusmriti as a significance in IKS? Oh, right. Fine. It will require, see, Manusmriti and Indian Constitution. Definitely, Manusmriti is IKS. We can say that, you know. So when it comes to discussion, I tell you that when you want to go for comparative, because I have experienced it with more than 60 students doing it, you know, on their own ways using an AI. So I must tell you that with reference to Manusmriti, we need to unlearn lots of things, right, and then relearn. And I advise that, you know, if you can use the you know, authorized sources, only then you will be able to map it perfectly. Amonika ma'am, so that I guess that can help you. Fine. You can go to archive.org where you can find the original text, right? Try to interpret on your own ways, get somebody's help for that so that it can help you, right? If you find the slokas in bits and pieces, that will definitely misguide you, and people have done that, right? Okay, sir, you have mentioned in the beginning of the Magna Carta. Okay, it is done. Now, sir, searches are done with the help of yeah, surgeries are done with the help of AI. Yeah, it is done. See, I tell you that we need to use AI as a productive tool, not as a production. Fine. If you can limit AI with the productivity, for example, if you want to use AI as a brainstorming, go for it. Ask the wildest things that comes to your mind, right? But it can be used as a brainstorming or productive, increasing your, boosting your productivity. It can never be used as a production. In that case, there will be a problem. Fine. Tenzila. Okay. Can you shed some light on in the script? Ma'am, it will be difficult to share light in the script in, you know, in next 2-3 minutes. It requires 1 hour. So my apologies.
I think, sir,
So I
the
think, yeah,
have
over
done.
to you.
Yes. So,
Okay. Other than this, if you have any insights, your commentaries, your reviews, you can share. I'll be more than happy. You can make my dinner delicious.
so today you have made our dinner delicious because you have given us a too much knowledge related IKS and language, and we are very thankful to you.
We are
So we
thankful
have
to
requested
Kalpesh
sir
Bhai.
to contribute a paper chapter in the book also. So
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
be reading for.
I get every day reminders on WhatsApp. Fine,
Thank you
definitely.
so much,
See,
sir.
whatever little I know about it, it's my duty to share. And I'm very much thankful to you people that for patient listening, because this is difficult,
So
right? We don't find people to listen to.
actually, sir, for the teachers, it is very difficult to listen the lecture very carefully. If the member is giving a lecture with a deep knowledge, so everyone is like to understand and everyone will listen you. And today we have done this. We are very thankful to
Yeah.
you, sir. In your lecture today, you have explained very beautifully about language. Language is the soul of Bharatiya civilization, memory, and contemporary relevance of IKS and IKS in science and technology, the journey from Ayurveda to AI, and how we can connect the IKS with the Gen Z. These are the takeaways from today's lecture. So, from the side of our participant, I would like to say thank you to sir for this beautiful session. And I'm very thankful to all the participants that you have given so much time and listened the lecture carefully. At last, I would like to say thank Kalpesh sir for design this capacity building program for us. Thank you so much, sir. So
Yeah,
to
no, that was a like joint effort of Dr. Sangeeta and we so and we were like, didn't like, we were not sure we'll come up with second edition, but we felt the need, and then we launched this thing. So we started, then UGC started, then we are doing. So that is the sequence.
Yeah,
So,
I'm sharing my number on WhatsApp. This is my mobile number. It's WhatsApp number. This is my email ID. Fine. I'll be more than happy to help. If I can be helpful to any of the people with reference to iCase, I'll be feeling lucky. Fine.
Thank you so much, sir.
so thanks.
I will connect with you to my syllabus because nowadays I'm designing a syllabus Indian knowledge system and communication. So I will connect with you, sir.
Definitely, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Tomorrow we will
Thank you
meet.
as well. Okay.